Charles Otto Witte. What is your story? What could you tell us from beyond the land that time's forgotten?
The land that time forgot.
Royalties too.
Charles Otto Witte was the third child of a family of 10, 8 boys and 2 girls. Born in Germany in 1823 to Ernest and Lisette Witte. Carl grew up attending school, and when not in school, one of his tasks was to tend to the farm and gardens. Much of his studies centered around agriculture. With his education completed, he resolved to come to the United States and engage in planting, expecting to put some of his agricultural studies to practical use. Soon after he arrived in New York in 1846, he reached the conclusion that his means were not sufficient to engage in farming. On February 15, 1866, at the age of 43, Mr. Witte married Charlotte Sophia Reeves. 23 years his junior, he closed his business and the couple traveled Europe, where their first child, Alice, was born in Germany. Some say there's a very special bond between fathers and daughters, and this certainly seemed to be the case with Mr. Witte and his daughters, which Alice was the first one in 1866, born in Germany, followed 2 years later by Faye, born in 1866, by Beatrice, born in 1870, Carlotta, born in 1872, Belle, born in 1874, and the youngest, Laura, born in 1877. Had provided Charles, otherwise known as Carl's, not 1, but 6 girls. After returning to Charleston, Mr. Witte found himself in the banking business. He was chosen the director of the People's National Bank and was later elected its president. He also served as the president of the Security Savings Bank. The family made their home on Rutledge Avenue, based on Laura's recollection as written in her memoir titled The Way It Was in Charleston. Mr. Witte cherished and doted over his daughters. As Laura wrote, he wanted to provide for them whatever they cried for. His love for planting continued, and he maintained greenhouses, gardens, and an aviary on the property. With planting dear to his heart, he had 6 flower beds, 1 for each girl. The aviary was home for many species of birds, from ducks to cockatoos, from macaws to finches, peacocks and chickens. A fountain could be found on the grounds that was home to turtles and even an alligator named Wishy-Washy. Mr. Witte even had a baby bear, Frederick, and monkeys for the girls to enjoy. 2 almost life-size dollhouses belonged to the girls. Dollhouses big enough for the girls to crawl into. There was even a garden playhouse that had a real working stove where sometimes meals were cooked. While cleaning in the home was completed by servants, the girls loved to clean their own playhouses. It only seems fitting that after Mr. Witte's death in 1908, that the girls sold the property, their beloved home, to Mary McBee at a reduced price of $25,000. You see, Mary McBee intended to turn the home into a girls' school. The home where the Wittes lived still stands, and many graduating classes have their pictures made on the staircase inside. The aviary, now known as the Shell House, can still be found on the grounds, as can the fountain where Wishy-Washy, the alligator, once lived. Through the wrought iron fences, you can get a glimpse of the grotto where Frederick the bear once lived. To this day, Charles Otto Witte's legacy continues to live on through the good works and education at Ashley Hall, 172 Rutledge Avenue.